Hey everybody, I hope you are doing well. I got to play WWE 2K24 a little bit early this year, and I thought I would talk to you guys about what my experience was playing it. So it wasn't the full build, it was just a limited build, a couple of matches, a couple of things from the showcase, and we can mess around with the options a little bit. Not too many options, but just a few. As you can probably hear, I'm sick right now, so I apologize for my voice. It's one of those things I knew I was gonna get sick if I went. Because I just knew I was due to be sick, if that makes sense. It's like I just knew it's been too long since I've been sick. So I apologize for my voice here, but we're still going to check this out either way. So the biggest thing right away is that the gameplay is pretty similar to WWE 2K23 if you guys played that at all. Like really similar. I think the idea for this year's game was to take what they did with 2K23, which they thought was really well done, and a step in the right direction, and they said we're just going to start adding on top of that, which is probably what they should have been doing forever, but it took them so long to just figure out the base game that they wanted to present until, I guess people liked it enough, and I guess maybe they finally hit it last year, and they decided they're going to add some stuff on top of that. So this year it's all about little additions, it's small things that add up to big things. So we got a couple new match types, we got some new features in the actual games, including this little throw system I'll talk about here in just a second. And some options like the camera and all that too. So if you're asking yourself, is this game going to be WWE 2K23 plus? The answer is probably yes. That's probably a good way to look at it. So like I said, it was a very limited build, so there wasn't very much that I could mess around with. We could only mess around with a few match types. We couldn't mess around with anything else. But what I did notice right away, something that was pointed out to us, was that you can change the camera to the Here Comes the Pain ramp angle. And this is a really cool feature for old heads, we used to play games like this, and I know it's weird to say old heads, but that was I don't even know how many, 20 years ago or some shit. It's a long time ago. But regardless, either way, very cool. A lot of people were just modding it in anyways, the camera switching around. You can do it middle of the game, but you can also do it just in the settings itself. So you don't have to worry about changing it every single game. I think you can just do it from the options. We couldn't go into the options, but I remember hearing that you can just change it bar none at the beginning and then not have to change it every game. So let me talk about the ambulance match here in just a second, but one of the cool features that I noticed right away was that there's actual referees in the game. Charles Robinson is the game, and a couple of the other referees. The one that I saw the most was Charles Robinson. We didn't really get to mess around with that too much or change too much in that regard. But one of the ones that I saw was Charles Robinson, so I assume there's a couple more real referees in the game and not just the default ones, similar to, I guess, if you guys remember, Mike Tyson, the Enforcer. I can't remember what game it was, but it was during the Mike Tyson, Steve Austin gimmick, and they didn't have the real Mike Tyson. They had some random 2K employee they mocapped. It's nice to have actual referees that referee in real life, So yeah, the ambulance match I think is really cool. I think that it's a great addition to the game. You're never going to hear me complain about more match types being in the game, that's for sure. I think the referee, Charles Robinson, actually drives the ambulance into the arena, and then it parks it there at the ramp. And like I said, if you change the camera angle, it makes the match really cool too. So the idea of the match basically is to take the guy, put him into the ambulance, and then beat him in the mini games enough to close the doors and end the match. And of course, there's the button mashing mini game and all that kind of stuff once you get up to the door. Pretty much what you would expect with this game mode. You can do stuff like climb the ambulance and go to the top. You gotta love those ambulances with the ladders on the side of them. So you can go to the top and you can do finishers off the side of it and things like that. And you can try to push each other off the ambulance, and it does a lot of damage and things like that. So that's really cool too. So one of the things that you can do this year also is you can climb the announcer tables again and get back up there and do finishers like that. You can actually walk around on the announcer table, this and that. Another thing that you can do is when you clear the announcer table off, there's usually bottles of water or what have you on the table. One of the things that you can do this year is that you can actually pick up the water bottle and throw it at people. You can actually do that with every weapon. Every weapon is throwable, which reminds me very much of Day of Reckoning on the GameCube, which is a cool option just because it's very funny when you see somebody just throwing a shovel at somebody. It's every single time, it's just funny as hell. So another thing they did this year was they added more sections to the backstage brawl. They added new little spaces you can go into, including using the ambulance from the ambulance mode. So being able to use those assets and other features on the game is very smart and a good use of resources, I think. And they added little things like you can go up and down an elevator in backstage brawl to get to the first and second floor, which is very funny. And of course, I'm sure that will not, that will never not break. I'm sure that is 100% okay. It will never not break. And of course, they added other stuff like you can get thrown into glass in the back and all that stuff. And just some simple stuff like that. It's pretty much still the same backstage brawl that you usually see. They just added a new little section and new little stuff. Like you can go to the vending machine and get a little bottle of water and throw it at somebody, similar to the announcer table stuff too. So that's pretty cool. One of the coolest additions I think they added was super finishers, where with some characters you have to check in the moves menu to see who has super finishers. Most of the top guys do. Top guys and girls have super finishers. Like I know Charlotte Flair has it, and I know that like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, etc., have it. And some of them are they're like indie stuff, which is really cool. So the super finishers in WWE 2K24 are like if you get 3 finishers with somebody who has a super finisher, you can activate it into a super finisher, which means that they can't use resiliency, and it's really hard for them to kick out. Which is a step forward on making it so maybe matches against other people don't go so damn long. That's one of my biggest things is like when I'm playing against someone online, I was like, I might as well go ahead and get 30-45 minutes out the way to get through this one match. Because I mean, if you play the game, you go kick out. I mean, the bar is just easy. So it's nice to see the super finisher thing. We'll see how that like actually plays out. Because I still think you can reverse a super finisher. I'm not sure. I didn't test it enough. Maybe if you can't reverse it, that's one thing. But if you can, I mean, you have for a world of hurt in that regard. But I guess that's something we'll see. I was playing around with Charlotte Flair. I thought Charlotte Flair was a ton of fun to play as, man. Like her character is just, I don't know, she's got everything you could ever want to use, and like all her signatures and finishers are awesome, and she's got these string together fucking moves where you do like 2 moonsaults on the floor and so I don't know, just fun. It was just fun. So 2K showcases in the game, that's definitely a love or hate mode for sure. I think, you know, everybody pretty much knows that it's in the game because it's just easy marketing, right? Like you can just put all these matches in there, cut to the movie, etc., put them on the box, sell it, you know what I mean? So I mean, everyone kind of gets it, but it's definitely a love or hate mode. It definitely hasn't changed at all in any regard. It's still the same. You do the objectives, you know, watch the match or whatever, and then you beat it, and then you unlock some stuff or don't, you know, etc. It's pretty much the exact same thing. And one of the coolest features they added in this game, I mentioned a little earlier, is like a throw system. I guess in my head I was thinking like throwing punches, but it's more like a strike exchange mini game. So from what I understand, it can only happen once per match. But yeah, it's a strike exchange mini game. One guy throws a punch, the other guy throws a punch. You keep going into this mini game where you have to keep the little bar into a circle. And if you miss, then you fail, and the other guy gets the upper hand. And if you fail too much, then you lose a strike exchange minigame. One of the cool things about it, though, that I ended up figuring out was that if you go long enough in the strike exchange minigame where you both aren't failing that much, then eventually you'll go into a straight up hockey fight. And the hockey fight animation is awesome. You really are just going at it crazy. A lot of WWE fans will notice it as like the Zayn and Owens like strike exchange spot, the hockey fight spot they do. It's very similar to that, and it's really cool. And also in the mini game, there's like a little sliver where obviously if you hit it in that circle, I don't know why I always call it this, but you guys remember in Gears of War where there's like the perfect reload, where if you hit it in the perfect reload, you would automatically reload and your bullets would do more down damage or whatever it was. That's what I always think about when I think of these mechanics, but this is kind of what it is. So you have to get the bar into the little area, but if you get the bar into the smallest sliver area that's like gold, you automatically win the minigame. But I put off this awesome like end of the match string with this that I thought was really cool. You can activate it pretty much whenever you want. It can be the beginning, middle, end of the match. Whatever time it ends up getting activated, ends up getting activated. Yeah, I believe you could, I don't know if there's multiple ways to do it, but I think you could just long press the strike button and it'll activate it most of the time. But yeah, I did this cool thing with Sami Zayn where me and Kofi Kingston got into a hockey fight at the end, and then I ended up hitting him with the Blue Thunder Bomb, kick out, put him in the corner, fucking super finisher, brain buster, and it was awesome. It was like the coolest shit ever. I was going nuts. Like that's some real shit, you know. That's the shit I die for. And yeah, man, that's pretty much what we got to play. That's pretty much it. It was a very limited build. Couldn't do very much. I assume someone somewhere will play the full build over the next few weeks. And you guys can probably check that out. But yeah, that was pretty much what I got to play. So yeah, my final thoughts are that it is WWE 2K23 Plus. If you like 23, you're gonna probably like this one. You know, they do their best to up the graphics every year. They always try to have the biggest, the baddest, the fucking best roster of all time. You know what I mean? And I think that you'll probably, like I said, if you enjoy 23, there's probably no way you don't enjoy this unless something fucks up catastrophically, which, hey, it happens. Shit, we already saw it a few years ago. Hey, don't even get me started on that. So that is it for me. I appreciate you guys as always. I hope that you have a good rest of your day, week, year, etc., etc. And, you know, if I got any other 2K stuff coming up, you'll be the first to know. Thank you guys. See you.